Hello and welcome to Connect to Love here on PRN-FM, where each week is an amazing exploration into the many facets of love, oneness, and our connection to the human spirit. I'm Lisa LaRose, and I'm joined by my co-host, Michael J. Russ. I want to say welcome to you, Michael.
Thank you. Welcome. I'm loving it. We're going to have a great show.
You are absolutely correct. We have a wonderful show ahead because we are so honored to welcome back our dear friend Carol Collins. And for any of our audience members who may not be familiar with Carol Collins and a teacher, Carol is the world-renowned conscious voice channel for the teachers, a collective of non-physical beings who are dedicated to the essential material for evolution. Their mission is simple yet revolutionary, to help us restore resonance with our inner knowing. And we have such a wonderful topic for the show today. We had an amazing conversation with you the last time you joined us, and I'm still buzzing, and I know Michael's still buzzing from our last conversation. And I just want to ask you, how are you?
It was
Well,
great.
you know, it's a lot of fun to be here, and I really, really enjoy being here. I'm doing fabulous, especially right on the heels coming back from the group Resonance Live workshop in Antarctica, and got another Vortex trip coming up in April over to Bimini, and then cruising to the Galapagos in the September timeframe. It's going to be such a glorious, healthy year. You know, it's February, and February is a month where they say disappointment starts to show up in stronger amounts in everybody, in men more than women, but it can be held at bay, and then the rest of the springtime months kind of unfold a little easier. And I know that they're wanting to talk about law of attraction ups and downs, you know, and it's the ebb and flow of positive versus negative, and where that comes from and how you can roll with it or step away from it. But I'm doing great. It feels really good to be, you know, here with you guys. Yeah, it feels great being here with you guys.
Yeah, it's so delightful. Oh, it is. And I love the choice because a lot of, and I don't know if it had to do with the energy of last year, a lot of people have expressed that the energy was very heavy. And they're happy to have the year of the snake behind them and to move into the energy of the fire horse, which we just welcomed in, along with an eclipse. And from what I've read about the fire horse, it's all about moving forward with passion and finding a clear direction. So it's so interesting that they said that.
Let's talk about snakes. We love you, we love you, we love you, we love you. But let's jump in before the energy of the snake goes too far into the ethers, all right? And so what is the year of the snake? What is the snake? What is the snake? What does it represent? It represents fear. The year of the snake is not about, the thing is when people use, and this is the teachers to speak, and we like this out loud ability Carol has because we can just convey rather quickly. She's awake. In past lives of her, she had to be down into a deeper alpha state, and she would not have heard the conversation. And so it was a little different. And what people do when they think about deep trance versus light trance, well, you get all weirded out with the word trance. So we say deep alpha or light alpha. And then you got a whole bunch of people that says, well, I don't even know what that means. And we say it's slowing the brainwave activity down. It just slows the brainwave activity down. And when it slows down, then we can, through some people, we can convey thought in the mind or out loud. And so what people do is they convey their own thought. And you have thought about snakes. And you have thought about vipers, and you have thought about the squeezing of some snakes and the slithering of snakes and how they just show up and they've got that darn rattle. But you give a baby a rattle and you love it, but you have a rattle on a snake and you hate it. But you hate it because you're afraid. So what you really hate, you don't hate the snake, you hate your fear. And so the year of 2025, which was a 9-year, is the year of change, and it's shedding old beliefs. And so, you know, the year of the snake, we don't agree with that. There's some misconception there. However, when you think of it in a more kind way, the year of the snake, it aligns people with the emotion of fear because you fear snakes. And so if you want to recognize this in a positive law of attraction way, last year was not a bad year, not for anybody. It was energetically one of the most beautiful years that you've had in generations. But people felt the shifting of their emotions. The shifting of their emotions. It's letting go of the past and stepping forward into the future. And so what people were feeling was some attachment to the past, but longing for the future. Attachment to the past and longing for the future. Really, it's what the shift is all about, this long phenomenon called the shift. It's releasing old wounds, releasing old fears, and stepping forward with less and less and less fear of the future and fear of the unknown. So let's just think about Year of the Snake and letting the snake be thriving. The Year of the Snake is let us give love to the snake. Let us give love to the snake, because we have given it fear, and it now has fangs and venom, some of them, because human thought over-evolutionized the way the animal planet and the animal kingdom operates. So the Year of the Snake, let's all think about snakes in a kinder way, but you can't do that literally. But what the year of 2025 did is it began to pull back fear of the future. And when you pull back fear of the future, you always pull back fear first. And so the animal kingdom and those animals that you fear, and it's not just the snake, but it's one of them, the animal kingdom starts to bounce back. We love the snake. We don't love how people respond emotionally to the idea of snakes. Why? Well, because you got a serpent as the devil, right? And it's just that iconic figure, which also isn't real. It's an illustrative purpose of where law of attraction can lead you in a bad direction. And so that whole parable, which it is a parable, was meant to teach people at the time that life can lead you towards togetherness or towards the opposite. And so the snake was just given as an example, and over the millennia, it's become somewhat disturbing for the snake itself. The Year of the Snake. Let it be the year where fears were being let go. And when you let fear go, then some of that fear and tension has to be lifted off of the animal kingdom and animals like the snake that you fear so much. We hope that's helpful.
Thank you. It does. It truly helps.
Very clear.
I thought about the caduceus, because it's two snakes that are intertwined, and that's a symbol of healing. So it's so powerful. I love it, because we don't oftentimes think about how powerful our thoughts are and our beliefs, and when thoughts become things.
You're right. So let's stop there for a minute. And so why does it take a long time for you people to heal? Teachers are right here, and we're circulating some energy into the audio of this, because it's going to be helpful for all of you. Why does it take time for you to heal? Rest, recuperation, surgeries, prescriptions, and happy thoughts and happy music and well wishes. And we love all of the well wishes and happy thoughts. We love all of that. But why does it take so long to heal? Well, it takes so long to heal because the mind of each human being draws more of what you're dealing with. And so when we talk about snakes, people don't love snakes. You're scared of them. And there are people that have acclimated to their level of fear, and they say, look what I can do. I can step towards a viper. Now, what activates on the inside, the undercurrent, is terror. And that person needs tremendous emotional healing in their deep sleep. And sometimes we get it done and sometimes we don't. But when you think about snakes, you think about fear. You don't love them. Even the kindest, gentlest ones, you don't love them. And because you don't love them, they have responded in their own evolution directly. Well, it's the words made flesh, right? And so your words have made them scarier. And so when you have the medical community that uses the entwined snake as their symbol, that's a fearsome symbol. We beg to differ with the idea that it's a healing symbol, because what it induces to the subconscious mind is disease is something to be feared. Now, we like that there is some separation of the snake, but even then, the mind just says, I see snakes. When I see that, I get more afraid. When I go to the doctor, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what the diagnosis is going to be. And for many people, I'm so afraid that I'm going to put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off. And I'm going to use countermeasures. I'm going to do something else. And so the world really could use, a dove with an olive branch in its mouth as the symbol for medical technology you would relax and you would calm. We are peaceful. We are healing. We're, and doctors, we give them credit for what they do, and the researchers and all of those people that are in those occupations. However, healing comes from beyond. But there are things within your physical planet that are helpful. Plants, for instance, and you can, manipulate plants in a lot of different ways and combine them. And then sometimes you do have some methods, topical and ingested kind of things, that can be very helpful. But what it does is it activates the unconscious mind to believe that healing can take place. So it's behavior-based influence to cause the unconscious mind to believe that healing can take place. And then non-physical healing teams everywhere can get a little bit done. You have a bruise. How does the bruise go away? How does it go away? Well, the mind has to add enough happy on the topic that caused the bruise. And then it will present a condition that is opposite of the bruise. But it doesn't mean that the bruise was healed. It doesn't mean that the reason and the cause, the emotional cause and the experiential cause, it doesn't mean that those things were healed. It means that enough happy on similar topics was brought into the unconscious mind to a degree that a new skin condition, a new body condition, because it's not just the skin, it's the underlining of the skin, will manifest. And so what you really have is healthy skin, unhealthy skin, and then healthy skin. But the memory and the cause for the bruise, as an example, is still in the mind of the human. That has to be removed, and non-physical beings are the ones that can remove it. So we know that people like to say healing, and we like to say helpful influence, to believe that healing can be done. And when a person really understands what we just said, helpful influence, to believe that healing can be done, because healing is the removal of the cause. It's the removal of the cause. There's always an emotional cause, an experiential that goes along with it. And so, we like the dove. Not because we like the dove more than the snake, but because people do. And you align peace, and you align forgiveness, and you align feeling hopeful and helpful with the dove and the olive branch. It's just because of your phraseology. We don't want the animal kingdom to be harmed any further, and we want people to heal faster. And you would heal faster if the medical community worldwide would change that symbol, just because you fear the snake spirit. We don't want you to fear it.
I love the information regarding joy and how wonderfully you're explaining it, because it made me think about the emotions and how they impact healing. And as you said that about the bruise, I thought bruises are what we see on the top, and then there is also an underlying bruise. So if we're constantly creating and attracting, and we have these beliefs that are sort of running underneath the surface, then how do we shift that?
Well, there's many different ways, and it is person by person by person on the subject that they're dealing with. And so we're going to say, in general, we want you to just identify what you're going through, and then simply say to yourself in the mind, this condition is not serving me. This condition is not helpful. I like happy better. It is a way of verbally influencing. The soul within is what the world calls the subconscious. The soul within is the thinking capacity of your non-physical being. The thinking capacity of your non-physical being is flowing life to you, but it's flowing life from an unconscious standpoint. Now, why are they doing that? Well, it has to do with expanding their mind to elevate up towards higher intelligence. They are accepting higher intelligence. The way they do it and why they do it, that's another subject area in the essential material, but nevertheless, it's still a good topic, because that non-physical being who is in deepest meditation and absorbing knowledge from that being that you call a guide, that guide is a teacher. It's a teacher, and that teacher is flowing higher intelligence into your non-physical being. And it's just a way of developing the non-physical senses of your higher being. And so physical life is helpful in doing that. But when soul within, which means thinking capacity of your non-physical being, is activating life, then you're a human, and it's activating all life. It's flowing life to you. But the thing is, number one, that they are in this semi-dormant, you would call it an unconscious state. We call it deepest meditation. And they are peaceful beings. We all are. everything in this non-physical place, everything outside of this earth environment is loving. It's do no harm. It's purity of love. And so when the mind of that being who is living your life first and then showing you what it has in its grasp, it is wanting nothing more than for higher intelligence to be absorbed deeper and stronger, so that it can see the wavelengths of negative emotion and reject them. Because when you can reject them in this non-physical state of deepest meditation, then you will be able to align yourself with not gentleness on the other side, not that at all, because we're all gentle beings, but you align yourself with powerful focus, and then you could lead teams and groups in different ways. It's an elevated being that is expanding their know-how. And so it's learning how to move thought aside so you can harness the power of focus. And so in this physical life, you're learning how to see emotions, positive and negative, and move all the negative aside so you can harness the power of the positive. And that's why we say happy is what you're here to accumulate. Happy, 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 the wavelength of happy. And we say it so that the soul within harnesses an understanding that all emotions are not equal. Find the one that is being shown to you, literally, because that teacher is very active, day and night, day and night, day and night. And so when we talk about law of attraction and we talk about what people are doing and how they felt last year and how they feel this year, and we talk about the 9-year versus the 1 year and things like that, it's simply to help you understand what you're doing here. And what you're doing here is developing, your being is developing itself to be of stronger intelligence and to lead very large, very complex idea sets in the non-physical place. None of you are young ones here. None of you are beginners. You're not beginners of this earth life, and you're not beginners in environments like this. It's something to be said for all of you. You're all old souls, in other words. And so you've got a lot of things that you're dealing with here. And you've got life as it is, and you've got this rear view mirror tendency. And that's where we're here to help all of you. We're here to help all of you to choose from the past and forecast it for the future. And so it's, I have this condition, and this condition is not serving me. And the inference here, or the pronoun, is it is not serving me. And the pronoun is me. It's your life. But the influence and the inference is to the soul within. Hey, soul within, this condition isn't the right one. But you can't say it like that, because that comes with density of emotion. It's worry, doubt, concern, or just annoyance. And so it has to be joyful, because the soul within will learn, oh, joyful. Joyful is what I'm going for. Joyful is what I'm going for. Which one is that, teacher? Which one is that, teacher? Which one is that? My person is asking for joyful. Which one is that? And then we teach the non-physical being in that meditative state to know things that it did not know before. And so it would be more like this. This condition that I'm going through, it's not serving me. It's not serving me. I like happy better. I like happy. Like happy, 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 happy. I like all kinds of happy. Happy feels to me like, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Definite. Absolutely. It's just the word. It's because if you say happy to me is like a field of wildflowers in fresh bloom and a bright sky, soft breeze, and the time to enjoy it, the mind will say, okay, I will look for that scenery so you can feel happy. And so you might come upon that, literally, physically, or maybe a photograph or something like that. But that's good, but that's not really what you're going for. You're going for what is happy. And so happy feels like anything that is associated with the idea of, oh, absolutely, definitely, yes, definitely. Because all of those words, it brings it all the way down with no specific subject attached. And when you have no specific subject attached, then the mind simply says, oh, happy in general. All right, teacher, how do I do that? How do I do that happy in general? And that's why we teach it, because then you heal faster. Then that non-physical teacher gets more taught. They get more accomplished in an individual lifetime, and that's what you're really hoping for.
Question.
Sure.
That was beautiful. This conversation that we're having, the conversation about happy occurring at the alpha level?
Well, meditation occurs at the alpha level, but
That's
your
true.
life, your day-by-day by life is in what you call the beta level, which is high mental activity.
Yeah. The conversation, though, what you're talking about with I'm happy and this condition is not serving me. Is this what you're thinking about once you've gotten into the alpha level? Are you saying that?
We love your idea. We love your idea. And don't lose sight of it. But for most people, they need a quiet room, and they need no distraction, and they need to be sitting nice and comfortable, and they need to have their eyes closed and perhaps some kind of headphones on to block out noise, and they need to simply relax their breathing, slow their breathing down, which will slow the heart rate down. Mm-hmm. And when the breathing and the heart rate are slowed down enough for long enough, then the brainwave activity will slow down as well, and then you'll shift into alpha. But that can take some time because the mind activity will keep going. And so it's good to practice what we call rhythm of the body silent meditation. But in addition to that, do it in beta. Do it in your high mental activity state, but do it with happy. This condition.
That's what I was looking for.
And this condition can be anything from, an irritated conversation to cancer. It's anything. This condition, amplify the positive. You can conjure it. You can do it. Even if you're in pain, you can. And you simply say, well, this condition is not serving me. This emotion is not serving me. It sure isn't. It sure isn't. It sure isn't. And I know this because I like happy better. And you can say it like that to yourself, because if you're dealing with physical pain or emotional pain, someone just slams the door and they walk out and they act like they're never coming back, and you're afraid and you're scared and you want to cry and you want to curl up and you just want to flee and you want to run to them and you want to beg forgiveness, but the tension between the relationship, it's not ready for forgiveness, and so all you're wanting is to not be abandoned. And so that abandonment feeling, well, that's not physical pain, but it could lead to physical pain, and you can hurt yourselves accidentally by dropping things and things like that. And so emotional pain is not something to disregard. This emotional pain, this slamming of the door, this walking out on me, this is definitely not serving me. You got to change the voice, and that's how you change it to happy. This is definitely not serving me. Yep, and I know this because I like happy better. And you got to do that often enough. Do it often enough.
That's awesome.
Well, let's just say for those that don't understand what the world calls as brainwave activity, beta is just who you are every single day. Every single day.
Every day.
It's how your mind operates. But when you start to shift into a nap, then your mind goes a little softer. Now, those that are aware of meditation, when you're doing mantra meditation or thinking meditation, you're still in beta, all right? You're still in beta, but you're using focus of words and focus of thought, but you're still in beta. And so we're not talking about that. We're talking about shifting into alpha, but it takes a certain method to get there. But outside of that, because not everyone has awareness of what that is and what it feels like, and they don't have the time to do it. And so when you're in a jam, such as traffic or anything else, you are shopping and you left your list at home. Well, that's an unfortunate occurrence. If you say to yourself, you know what, this is not serving me. I like happy better. Happy is so much easier. Happier is fun. And then just relax for a minute, just a minute, and let those words sink in. And it sinks all the way down to the soul level. And when the soul level understands that you're asking for generalized happy across every area of your life, well, then your life must get better. But when you try to mask it, or when you try to, add too much meditation, because life is kind of complicated, and so you stop several times during the day to make that thoughtful thing, and you sit for 5 or 10, 15 minutes every day, multiple times a day, then the mind could make a mistake and say, well, I think what you're trying to tell me is you want life to slow down, You want to rest more or sleep more, and then you could have a hard time waking up in the morning, and then you oversleep and you get exhausted in the afternoon. We don't want that to happen. Yeah, there are consequences.
Okay.
So do it in what the world calls beta. Start there.
Yeah, that's good. That's perfect. That's perfect and delightful. I like it.
And friendly. Mm-hmm.
Always.
Michael and I have both been practicing friendly since the last episode. Just been delightful. Absolutely wonderful. It's made a huge difference. I'm all for happy, 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 happy.
Absolutely. Why not?
Mm-hmm. It does. It does.
Agree.
Why not? It does feel better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The soul level of you, which is the component of physical life that you don't really think about, and you don't really know it exists because you're not taught that it exists. But not only does it exist, but it is flowing life to you. It creates at a constant rate. It is creating, and sometimes it is creating and manifesting. So there's two things that the mind can do in that deepest meditation state. We mean the mind of your non-physical being. It can create, and it does so at a constant rate. And sometimes it creates and manifests. Manifesting means it's always creating in this non-physical plane, inside the dome of earth life. But sometimes it is pushing what it has created to the physical plane. Now, some things it's doing at a constant rate, like breathing. All right? And so the unconsciousness of your life is what we're calling at the soul level. Soul level is manifesting to you the fact that you're breathing. And so some things are at a constant rate, day and night, day and night, day and night. Other things are not. We want happy to be flowing into your life just like automatic, just like breathing. We want happy to be so automatic that it's just like breathing. And we say that to the unconscious mind of your being.
I like that.
It can happen when you understand it, all right? When you understand it. And so we're going to say this again. The unconscious mind, which means the mind that has gone into deepest meditation of the non-physical being that is having this incarnate life, it is projecting all human life to you, all of it. Not just your verbal thoughts, not just the thoughts of what you would call inspired idea, not just those things that stand out to you. They are manifesting your eyesight and your hearing and your flavors and your aromas and your tactile sensations, but also every decision, everything that you see and everything that you engage in. They're flowing all physical sense activity to you. And it does so at a constant rate. When you look at your living room and you see your couch, the couch doesn't flicker on and off and on and off. It's flowing at a constant rate. This couch exists. Mm-hmm. It is a permanent structure in my living room. It exists, and so it's always there. It's flowing to you at a constant, permanent rate. We want the non-physical being in that deepest meditation to understand this. Flow happy to the physical person at the same constant permanentness as you do the couch in the living room and the fact that you're breathing, right? You can hold your breath when you look at the couch, but the couch doesn't move. So flow it into life at the permanent rate that you do the couch that you're sitting on. When you all understand that, you'll be a happier race of people. You'll be a happier race of people.
It's so interesting because I can see where some of the misunderstandings about manifestation have arisen, because as you're explaining, we really don't know how to attract, or we don't think that we're deserving. And the teachers, I'm so grateful because you really do remind us that we are capable of all we intended to be. And it's about the discernments and the inner knowing and all of the awareness that's available to us. And I'm so grateful for this conversation because it's just taking my breath away, really.
Would you like to rephrase that?
Yeah.
And this is how you
Please.
This is how you do it, person by person by person. It takes my breath away. But you don't really want that to happen. And so we'll just go back to the words made flesh. What does that mean? It means the words that I use manifest my life in the future, and you don't want your breath taken away because, you go out from the air conditioning to the heat of the summer, and you don't want it to be so heavy on you that you have a hard time breathing. But also, if you want to run a 5K, you want to have an ease in doing it, and you don't want your breath to be a challenge for you, right? But you also don't want your breath to be taken away. Now, how else can that manifest? It can mean that people ignore your words. My breath is taken away, but you need breath in order to speak. There is an airflow in order for the vocal cords to operate. And so when human population says things like, takes my breath away, it can make people, certain conditions have to be present for it to happen this way, but people could start disregarding your words, or you could become forgetful. So what is it? It brings joy to my life. This moment is more joyful because I'm beginning to understand what you're saying. And so it's really hone it all the way in, bring it all the way in to what you really mean, We adore creative ways of describing things, but it would be better, human population, to use your creativeness to draw in vocabulary that's just sophisticated and exquisite because it makes you feel happy to do so. But you can also be plain language. It just makes me feel happy to understand these kind of things in this way. These examples and these analogies that you're giving us, it's really making me joyful. I feel like my life will flourish because I'm understanding what you're saying. See, you got to focus on the future.
I love it.
Really think about what the words are that you're saying.
Yeah, that's a very great clarification. Yeah,
Thank
it is.
you.
The power of words.
Power of words, that's right.
Cannot be underestimated.
You got to make it work for you.
It's a good reminder that we have a lot of colloquialisms that we use in the English language that are really not in alignment with what we really want, not what we really desire.
Yeah, and we'll say global. It's not it's not just English-speaking cultures that have that. We call it phraseology. It's the idea set. We've said this before. Kill two birds with one stone. Well, there was a reason that phrase came about, and that reason is no longer thought about, but the phrase still exists. And it does need to go away. It needs to go away. It's, well, I think I can do more at one time. I think because of this circumstance, I think because of this conversation, I think because of the way this environment is set up, I can do more in a shorter amount of time. And that's what, kill two birds with one stone. I can get more done. I can do multitasking has really become easy for me. I can multitask quite easily. And that's a much, much healthier phrase for the entire human population to have and to dip into.
Wow.
True.
So true. I have a quick question because last week Michael and I were speaking about a phrase that was, I wonder what's possible. So if I'm wanting to choose language so that I could add more happy to my life, would it be best to say, I wonder what's possible as I add more happy to my life? More joy, more delight?
Well, we think that it doesn't really need a whole lot of rephrasing. We think what you're really asking for, is, and not validation either, it's how do I apply this from general to specific? And so it's more like this. I know that a happy perspective brings more possibilities. I know this because happiness brings clarity, and that's really what your mind is trying to focus on. And what is under the surface is, how do I take that general statement and hold on to the energy of it and apply it to something specific? And then how do I, when you're happy and you have clarity of thought, creative ideas start to flow. How do you know which one is the right one for you? Well, in one moment, all of them could be the right one for you. Mm-hmm. And then how do you narrow it down to which one you want to follow? Well, then you simply look at them and you register, how do you feel? But it's not about your thinking thoughts. It's not your thinking thoughts. It's your emotional thoughts. How do I feel emotionally about these ideas that just surfaced? Possibilities are limitless, but the possibilities have to arrive into your thought process first. And so there is unlimited resources of creativity in your physical plane. But if you're not a creative-minded person, then you might draw logic to you, because those are the two areas that you have to work with. You have creativity and you have logic. Now, outside of that, you've got emotions that run the gamut from negative to positive, and thickly intense and thinly intense of both. And so when someone is wanting a variety of ideas, that variety of ideas can be strongly creative, which means whimsical. Go with whimsical. And then your mind will follow the path of whimsical until it reaches a certain percentage, and then it must move over to logic. But if you are happy-hearted and you're more of a comedian and you use, the lighthearted whimsicalness is how some minds want to move forward with bring more happy, draw more happy, draw more happy, draw more happy. Okay, now I have enough. Let me flip the switch over to logic, and then the pathway will be known to you, to the unconscious mind, and then it will be known to you as a person. But not everybody is a step one creative. Some are a step one creative, which then leads to step two, decision made, logic applied, after enough creativity has been used. But the other half of the population, and we don't mean half, it's not a 50-50 split, but the other type of person is logic is step one, and that kind of a person weighs the pros and cons. We want people to understand that you might be using the one that is inherently understood by your being. Not everybody is, because you're influenced by education and teachers and parents and entertainment of whether to be creative or logic-minded. And so a logic-minded person will approach things with weighing the pros and cons, weighing the pros and cons, weighing the pros and cons, weighing the pros. Now, if that kind of a person can stay in the positive flow, weighing the pros and cons with happy as their focus, as their emotional focus, that means, these two, I understand that this one is good and that one's not so good, but I also know that's not my decision. So I need more examples, I need more examples, I need more examples. And so that kind of a person thrives with a large menu, for example. The large menu. Carol likes this one, Cheesecake Factory. We are not associated Cheesecake Factory, neither is she, but she just delights. Her personality, her inherent personality, she opens it up and says, oh my goodness, there are so many choices here. Many choices here. She's logic-minded as a step one person. And so all of those choices are, I like this, wow. I know it's not today. I like this, I know it's not today. I like this, I know it's not today. And then she'll flip a page and she'll say to herself, she'll feel it, I know that what I'm going to order is somewhere on this page, but then she'll still flip because she wants to see all the pages, all right? And so it's logic. And then when a certain percentage is flipped, then she'll know exactly what to order. Now, all of that is organic. That's organic. That's not intuition. That's not being guided. That's simply, I thrive off being given ideas. Now, negative emotion can show up because everybody else is ready to order and she's not ready. And so you can pressure people, or you can exhaust yourself with looking at the choices, because disappointment is one of the negative emotions that all of you carry. And so disappointment can surface and then contaminate decision making. And so you've got the creative step one that then flips a switch and logic shows up, or you have the logic-minded one, which will then flip a switch and then creativity will show up. And so it goes to say, so we'll just use the menu, for example. And so, you're going through the menu, and then instinctively, it's instinctively, not intuitively, instinctively, I know that I'm going to order some kind of pasta. I just know it. I know it, but I want to see what all the other choices are. And so that's when fun plays in. And so that's happy. That's happy logic moving towards the tipping point of how much happy will kick on creative. And when it does, that's when that person flips back to the area of the menu that felt good to them. And then, now this is a person that remains happy through the activity. And then looking at all those choices, we'll just say, pasta-like choices in rudimentary example, is, this one, I like how they described that. I like how they described that. I like that one. I see something in that description that I know doesn't appeal to me. I like the description of that. I like the description of that. And then narrow down the choices using the creativeness in how things were presented. Now, the opposite kind of a person would want to see pictures. And so a logic-minded person needs words, and a creative type of person needs pictures. But restaurants and businesses, they don't cater to both, not very easily. And so you're left to your senses to figure out what to do. So we've got a lot of things to teach the world's population. You've got two kinds of people, and you've got every race and every language, but you have two kinds of people, those that need words, not titles of a menu item, not giving a name, but giving a description. So some need a description, and some need pictures, right? And how do you balance it out? Well, one of these generations, there's going to be just a delightful way of presenting both side by side, side by side, side by side, side by side. And the gentler person will favor that, and they'll favor what they instinctively want, and then they'll move forward with it. Or they'll use visualization technique. And so that's how you go from phrasing things and feeling for things, a gut feel, or improper use of the word intuition. Gut feel is instinctive. Emotional feel is your personal emotional guidance. That's your personal law of attraction showing up. And then you've got your thinking thoughts. And then the thinking thoughts kind of cloud your judgment because you think a lot, and words have definition to them. But when you put all that aside, there is also guidance from beyond to help you make decisions and help you have a happy, healthy life. And that's what we want for all of you. We want you to understand what type of person you are, and then use it, own it, and know that everybody that you come in contact with is not identical to you.
That's beautiful.
And that's not only an okay thing, but that's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I started thinking about Asia because food in Asia at restaurants is portrayed in pictures, side and inside.
Awesome.
You walk by a window and there's pictures, right, of all this really appetizing food. And in Europe, it's words. In the United States, in most restaurants, it's words. And it's really kind of interesting that what you said there about what the teacher said about the two kinds of people, and that's brilliant. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it. Yeah. Makes me think about which one.
But you don't know. But there you go wrong because you can't think about what kind you are because you don't know. Instinctiveness is the type of being that you are, non-physical being. And unfortunately, in the Earth platform, you can't tap into the personality of your non-physical being. And so instinctive, it takes a little more playfulness. It's a different conversation that we can have, with people one-on-one, where we can simply identify it. But there are ways to not dissect your personality and thinking about it, but there are ways to draw the instinctiveness into your experiences, and then by way of keeping notes about different on-purpose exercises. So we're talking about mental and behavioral exercises. It's a combined, more like a complex set of mental and behavior activities that you do at one time to start identifying, having the instinctive nature revealed to you, but it takes quite a long time for it to come through the first time, and then it takes playfulness to keep it coming through, and then over a short while, at the first time it takes a while for the first one to come through, but after that, then it takes just a little while, and then you'll understand what kind of a person you are. But you can't think about it, because what you'll do is you will think about how you have made choices in the past. And how you have made choices, although you may instinctively be on target, but you might not. And so it's not the best way to do it, because you'll think about, well, normally I make decisions because I read things, but you could also be intellectual, right? And if you're an intellectual person, you will go to words, but you might be a creative being. So if your non-physical being is creative by nature, which means they use creative flow first, well, that's who your being is. But in this physical life, if you're an intellectual, then you will prefer words. And so what your life experience has given you might be opposite from who your being really is. So you can't really just think about it. There are some exercises that you can do, and they combine mental and behavioral things, and then it can, over time, be revealed to you.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Private discussion is good for that kind of thing, or small group, like a small group that wants to get together and have that thing revealed to them. Good.
Right. And that's what is so wonderful about the teachings of the teachers and what you bring through, Carol. It's just absolutely amazing. And for anybody who would like to delve a little bit deeper into some of the conversations that we have been exploring, I would strongly suggest to go to channelingtheteachers.com, because you will learn about the essential material, which this is part of. This is part of Pillar 2, the aspect reality teachings. And it's more than just the law of attraction. It's about healing and seeking your truth and truly tuning into that aspect of your non-physical being. Am I correct, Carol?
Yes. Teachers are all still right here. I feel that thought energy is still around. It's a combination. Like today's conversation is a combination of Pillar 1 and Pillar 2, but also a little bit of Pillar 3. Pillar 1 is what they call the foundational material. That's who non-physical beings really are. And so, the creative versus the logic flow, that really falls into the type of personalities found in the non-physical place. That's Pillar 1. Pillar 2 is choosing happy and reframing it, why it's necessary to choose happy, because it causes your life to unfold in a better way. That's Pillar 2. But I know they touched upon, healing and who the healers really are, and how we can manifest a new condition. But doesn't mean the old condition was emotionally healed. That falls into Pillar 3, which is non-physical healing. So even in this short discussion, they've touched upon 3 of the 4 pillars, and that's the way that they do it, and they weave it all in. It's nice. Phenomenal. I love it. It's just so logical. It's so logical to me, which is kind of a fun thing to know.
It's just such a gift to be able to have you and the teachers join us to share your wisdom and insights. I know that Michael feels the same way.
It is for me too. It is for me too. Whenever they have a workshop or a discussion comes up, there are things that flow that just amaze me. Many times it's things that they have brought to my attention privately, but then they go into deeper detail when they're talking to people. And so now I love what they brought up with this creative flow and logic flow, and I'm really going to be interested in learning what they have to say about that topic myself, more and more about it.
I know. These conversations are always amazing, and they open so many new doorways for us to explore. I know I'm eager to learn more about this topic, and I would imagine Michael is as well. Did you have any questions you wanted to ask the teachers, Michael?
Not necessarily ask, but say how much I enjoy the time that you're spending with us, because I don't know if you can't really get this anywhere else, really, if you think about it. I mean, we're talking about introducing people to something completely different that they might not have thought about before. And this topic of conversation with regard to everything that the teachers brought out in terms of the importance of vocabulary and happy and actually stating what's not relevant for you. And to me, it's so antithetical to the way people normally go about their day, right? And the beauty of this is it's making me think again about, how the value importance of words when it comes to law of attraction and manifesting what you want in your life and attaching feeling to that. I love when they said it's how you feel, right? It's how you feel about something. And
emotionally.
Yeah, emotionally.
And this is the teachers to speak. But when you think about what you have been experiencing, you think using words, and your words have definition, and you have personal feelings and personal experiences associated with words. And so we mean literally, and so we'll describe it very briefly. It's in the upper area of the torso on the front, where you will have a density or a lightness that is revealed to you. It's not a topical thing. It's not a ripple or it's not an energy thing. It's not goosebumps kind of thing. It's not a gut area feeling. It's an upper chest area feeling, and it's literally an emotional feeling gets revealed to you, but you have to know what area of the body to focus on, and you have to learn the art of it. But when you add how you think about things and how you feel, most people will, unfortunately, they'll say, well, the way I feel about it is this, and they'll go into some verbal description of what they think, but they'll call it how they feel. What I feel about it is, it's really about proper use of the word think and feel. Well, how do you feel about this topic? How do you feel about this political situation? Well, I think they are. How do you feel about it becomes the request to give your opinion. How do you feel about it elicits your personal opinion, and personal opinions are shared using words. And so it's not that at all. It's emotional guidance. It's emotional guidance from the soul within, without words. It's emotional, and it is without words. It's devoid of words.
It's gorgeous. Delightful. Love it. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah, that's emotions. Yeah. I'm going to have so much fun re-listening to this episode.
As will I. There's so many and I don't think I'll ever look at a menu quite the same way. There's so many beautiful visuals with that.
True.
Carol and the teacher, that it's really amazing. Yeah. So I'm going to take a deep breath and tune in to all of the gifts that you shared with us. And I'd love for you and the teachers to share any final thoughts, and please let us know about any upcoming events or other resources that might be available for our audience members to access. I just want to mention the last issue of the Synergistic Wellness magazine was absolutely beautiful. I loved the poetry from James. One of my favorite articles was Love on What You Think About. It was amazing.
Yes.
So, please.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm going to say to everyone, the Gentle Musings is a book that's being put together that is a collection of all of these poems that my non-physical teacher has started to bring forward, and there's, so far I have, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 of them. And Lisa is the one that's going to help me put that all together and do some of the formatting work for the book. And so the words and the creative work are being given to me, and the idea for color schemes and all that are being given to me, but they're going to use Lisa and her expertise to put that in a nice book form. And so, credit where credit is due, which is always a fun thing. So kind of a combo effect. You know what? The magazine is amazing, and I'm going to tell everybody this.
It is. Oh, yeah.
It's $10 a month. It's $10. It's $10. And it has intuition flowing through it, cover to cover. It has guidance on the essential material, but there's always a theme through it. And there is so much goodness. There's good advice. There's recommendations. There's examples. But there's intuition that is flowing all through it, cover to cover to cover to cover to cover, every month.
I agree.
And then once you have it, the unconscious mind can tune into it again and again. And it's $10. It literally is about the cost of, whatever people like to buy that costs $10. For me,
exactly.
I love it.
Yeah,
it's
$10.
usually it's usually a latte somewhere and maybe a pastry, because I like both of those, which usually is more than $10.
Extremely high value.
It is an amazing amount of information, and it is all mainstream-like. It's not overly spiritual, because they're really guiding people more and more and more to step away from spiritual and get back to living life that makes you feel really happy and healthy. And so, it's all there for the taking, and that's such an easy thing for people to purchase. And so it's designed that way, and it's meant to stay at that price. They're about that price. And so think about that. It's a subscription service, and it's called Wellness, and it's on the website, channelingtheteachers.com. In addition to that, there's some other subscriptions, and you all can go to the website, and you all know how to read and sift through websites, but that one is listed as magazine, and you'll see it, you'll fall in love with it, because there's such dense emotions are being pulled out of people when they go through the magazine. It's a healing thing that happens to people. So the other things are some of the Resonance Live. They happen typically in Bimini, land and cruising. Bimini, in that area, there's a large vortex there, and I love it because there's also some energetic things that can happen when you're traveling on the ocean. And also Antarctica. So Antarctica is once a year, and Bimini right now is twice a year. And there will be some other things after that. But, the website gives you everything. So I would say hone in on a couple of things. The magazine in the menu, and also workshops in the menu. But go all the way down to Resonance Live, because that's the one that, what they say, the viewers that you have for this month's segment, and probably next month and the month after, it's all about how can I heal fastest? How can I get my life on track fastest? Well, unfortunately, there are ways to do it, but they don't always come instinctively. And so they do take people out of continent area and take them towards vortex area that is in the ocean area, but not anything that's for too long. So it's usually a 4-night or a 5-night, and we cruise there generally. There are some land opportunities to just go and sit in the vortex in the island areas. But what you'll find on Resonance Live is they do physical healing on people. We just got back from Antarctica, and I tell you what, there's 3 people whose eyesight has improved within that 2-week span, and they keep taking their glasses off and saying, I think I need a different prescription. And there's emotional things. There's one woman that's on her way to opening up energetically and having her just her ability to communicate with people cleaner. She stutters a little bit and has a hard time describing what she's doing, and that's a challenge. And that was just an amazing thing to watch happen, and just some other things. Somebody had their physical healing by way of removing negative emotion from what they call the grid, and the grid is where all your life's memories are stored. And when they remove negative emotion, there is a bounce back in some observable way, concrete, undeniable bounce back. And so that's what these cruise trips and land trips to vortexes are all about. But it's not just going there and vacationing. It's going there and having them do what they do. So it's channeled workshop and channeled private sessions that are always offered in those things. So consider doing it. The website has it all for you. So workshops all the way down to Resonance Live, and then the magazine. And if you want to look at everything else in the website, feel free. There's always private appointments and that kind of thing. But, the audience that you have today, those are the 2 areas that they want to point out.
Yeah,
wow.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for coming on every month.
Love it. Oh, you're welcome. I love it. Thanks for the invite.
We'll see you next month.
Sounds great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. And if you find value in this conversation, please share it with someone who might benefit from the insights we've shared. And remember to embrace happy, happy, happy Keep love in your heart, and always know that you are amazing. You are connected, and you are loved. Until next time, peace out.